Oscar did everything his own way every day. Oscar ate whatever he wanted, played whenever he wanted, and slept whenever he wanted. If his mother told him to clean up or come down for dinner, he would yell, "Later!" and continue with whatever he was doing. One day, Oscar came home late from school after playing with his best friends in the park. "I'm home," he yawned in the hallway. He was tired from playing all afternoon. "Hello, honey," Oscar's mother answered back. Oscar went to do the next thing on his daily list. He grabbed some snacks from the cupboard and then played video games until the sun went down. The room around him began to get very dark. The only light coming from the TV was making a sound. Oscar slammed the controller down on the sofa. He picked up a handful of crisps. Half of them had crumbled before they reached his mouth. "Give me a chance here," he said to his friends in the game. They responded loudly. "Oscar!" his mother shouted from the kitchen. He didn't answer. "Guys, come here!" he shouted at the screen. "Oscar!" his mother repeated. This time she had shouted loudly, and she looked a little tired. "Yes?" Oscar took off his headset. "Dinner is ready." Oscar rolled his eyes as he put his headset back on and settled himself on the couch. "Later," he replied back. Later, and Oscar's mother went into his room. She took a plate of food for him to eat. She suddenly stopped just inside the door. "Oscar, can you clean up this mess?" The more Oscar ate, the more small pieces scattered around him. He was surrounded by leftover wrappers and empty packages piled up on the couch. Oscar saw his mother. "Later!" he shouted over the noise of the video game. His mother sighed as she began to clean up the mess. The next day, Oscar came home angry and disappointed because he had found the exam at school difficult. He decided to eat some cake to treat himself. Oscar was just about to take his first bite when his mother called him from the other room. He sighed, put down his cake, and went to talk to his mother. He looked disheveled. His arms were tied. The envelope Oscar had just brought home was torn, and he had a letter in his hand. "Oscar, we need to talk about something that's happening at school." He motioned for her to sit next to him. Oscar sat up in a huff. He thought he knew what was going to happen. "Oscar, I read this letter from your teacher. She says you've been cheating on your tests and copying your friend's work." Oscar suddenly became angry. He had only copied it because he didn't understand any of it. "Well, he lets me imitate him." He sighed angrily and folded his arms. His mother also sighed, but then gave him a slight smile. "No problem, Oscar. Look, if you're struggling, I can help. Let's start tonight, okay?" Oscar was tired and fed up. First, his teacher told his mother about it, and then his mother supported his teacher. Why couldn't she stay away from this matter? He jumped to his feet. His hands were clasped at his sides. "Later!" he shouted. He ran to his bedroom. Later that night, Oscar grumbled as he threw himself on the bed and tossed and turned in his bed. He couldn't sleep. Why did everyone have to do everything all the time? Why wouldn't they let him do what he wanted? He wished everyone would stop chasing him. He promised himself that he would do everything for himself in the future, even if it meant cheating on the exam. That night, Oscar dreamed that he was eating his favorite snacks and playing in the park with his best friends all day. The next morning, Oscar was startled from his deep sleep. There was a clap of thunder outside his window. Rain fell heavily on the glass. "Mom?" Oscar called into the silent house. Silence answered him. He ran downstairs, but no one was there. Oscar just shrugged. Sometimes his mother was called to work at the last minute. She usually left a note to tell him that she had made his favorite breakfast and had it wrapped and placed on the counter. He looked everywhere, but there was no note or breakfast in sight. "Oh, good," Oscar said out loud to himself. He grabbed his favorite snacks for breakfast. Oscar went to school in a daze, remembering that he had another test that day. When he arrived at class, he realized that the friend he usually copied from was nowhere to be found. He hadn't told Oscar that he wouldn't be there. It seems that he hadn't told the teachers either. When Oscar asked them, they were completely clueless. Oscar wasn't too happy to come home after school that day either. He was unhappy because of the exam. Oscar hated the rain, but it didn't seem like it was going to stop. The rain meant he wasn't able to be outside and play, but the friend he wanted to hang out with had also disappeared, so he had no one to play with anyway. Well, at least I'm home now, he thought. I'm back, he announced to the empty house. His mother was still nowhere to be found. The smile disappeared from Oscar's face. It was strange. Normally, if his mother was away from home for the long time, she would arrange for someone else to take care of him. He shrugged. I'll worry about that later, he told himself. He started playing his favorite video game. He ate a lot of snacks, skipped dinner, and slept late that night. It was morning. The wind and rain knocked and hit Oscar's window hard. It's Saturday! Oscar woke up with an excited smile. He remembered that he and his mother had been planning a day out for several weeks. He ran downstairs, but stopped when no one was there. Finally, he started to worry. That day, Oscar looked everywhere his mother could have been. He called everyone he knew, but no one answered. He asked around town, but because of the rain, hardly anyone was around. Of all the people Oscar knew and could find, no one had seen his mother. Oscar returned home feeling disappointed. He felt like crying as he searched for something to eat under all the mess in the kitchen. The house was a disaster. Oscar couldn't even find his favorite toys under all the trash. Oscar was too worried to sleep that night. He looked out the window at the sky. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for everyone who cares about me to leave. I wanted a break, but not like this. I want everything to go back to normal. Please, please, I didn't mean for it to happen this way. The next morning, the bright sun shone on Oscar's sleeping face. He woke up feeling refreshed. He had forgotten everything for a moment. Suddenly, he remembered. Oscar ran downstairs, taking 2 steps at a time, trying to avoid falling as he called out to his mother. He stopped on the landing as soon as he saw her. She smiled as he ran to hug her. "You're back! You're back!" he cried. She laughed and held him tightly. "Did you have a bad dream, John?" He shook his head as he hugged her tightly and she laughed out loud. He missed that laugh so much. "Now, come on, it's Friday. Get ready for school or you'll be late again." Oscar kissed her on the cheek. Later was on the tip of his tongue. It was such an old habit. However, he took a deep breath and said, "Okay, I'll get ready now." If this story touched your heart, don't wait for a later in your life. Go hug your parents, fix your habits, and start today. And if you believe small changes can create big differences, hit like, subscribe, and join this journey with me. Be honest. How many times do you say later? Comment below, no more later, if you're ready to change today.